Jamaica, obviously. I don't know. My brother, we both have told you our mom is Jamaican, so we used to go to Jamaica every Christmas for like good 6 years in a row. So we were in Jamaica. We have gone to Jamaica numerous times. I lived in Rome. I did a study abroad in Rome, and that kind of like got my traveling bug going. So I was like 7 minutes away from Vatican City, so that was really fun. I've gone to Canada, I've gone to the Bahamas, I've gone to France, I've gone to Netherlands, I've gone to Greece, I've gone to Egypt, I've gone to Thailand, and Mexico. So those are the 10.
Were you inspired by Lupe Fiasco's song Paris Tokyo?
No, but you were.
She's been on a world tour.
World tour.
For sure.
And I also seen a couple of videos. It's like you don't just document your sort of travel. It's like you give tips about, traveling on a budget or like, things of that nature.
Because so I recently, I don't know if I qualify as retired, but I was a teacher for 3 years. So that means for working in the Philadelphia school district. So that means I was very, very poor. So I really didn't have that much money, but I knew I just really loved to travel. So I wanted to spread that knowledge of like how you can budget and how you can like do all these things. Because I feel like, especially when we talk about people of color, we look at traveling as really unattainable. Like, oh, I can't do this. And there's some basis in that, right? It's called generational wealth. But just like on another note, we look at it as really unattainable, but it's possible. Like there's various different ways that we can budget and we can find avenues to go to places that we want to. I'm definitely not like a luxury traveler. You won't see me in like a resort where it's like a crazy view and like I'm sipping champagne. Like that's not the type of travel that I do. My thing is like I always like to say, tell me where your grandma lives. Like I want to be with like the people if possible. I want to learn as much as I can. So I was a history teacher, so I'm definitely a history buff, and I like want to learn all the things about wherever I am, even if it's like in the United States, because we sometimes don't realize how big the U.S. is and the different cultures within the U.S. So a girl coming from E.O. I'm not familiar with like the South. I'm not familiar with like different areas. And I was like having a conversation recently because as a Northerner, I had like expectations of like what the South would be. I'm like, oh my God, it's really racist. Like, it's gonna be like really scary down there. I'm gonna feel uncomfortable. And then I went to Savannah, Georgia, and I fell in love. I'm like, oh my God, people actually say hello to you. And like, they actually like help you just because like they're not asking for money, they're not asking
but they don't care about your reproductive rights.
Listen,
oh my God, with the interjection
from the top rope.
Let's
he's like, but no abortions.
Let's make something all the way funky. In a totality, America does not care about your reproduction rights.
Absolutely not.
It's just the luck of the draw where you stay in America. But people are nice there. I can't lie. They're nicer than people up like in New York and New Jersey, because I live in Philly, in the Philly area. Philly hits different. Philly hits really different.
North Philly, right? North Philly, right?
So I did live in North Philly for a little bit. I taught in North Philly majority of my educator career, but I also taught in West Philly too, and that's where I live, and that's where I've been for 3 years.
Because there's a clear distinction between North Philly and South Philly, just like North Jersey and South Jersey, and
West Philadelphia.
And West Philadelphia.
Yeah, so like where I live is a pocket of Black ownership. So the people that I rent from, it's a cute little old lady next door. Her name is Miss Catherine. I'm pretty sure she does not know my name, so she always calls me lady. She's like, hey lady. I'm like, hi, how are you doing? How are you? She is a very newsy person, so that's how Philly newsy. And she always likes to be in the mix, but I let her be great because I love the elderly energy. But yeah, so like depending on what pockets you are in Philly, it's like it hits different. So like South Philly is a lot of Italian people. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Frank Rizzo. He was a police commissioner back in the 60s and then became a mayor. Believed in white rights. He was from South Philly. So I'm not saying all people from South Philly are like that, but I'm saying, there's a history and culture within that. And then you have...
Was Rocky from South Philly?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like South Brooklyn, where you have like Bensonhurst and places like that.
Yeah,
like South
Bay
Philly
Ridge, stuff like that.
A Bensonhurst vibe for sure. And then but Amber Rose is also from South Philly, so
Well, that explains a lot. That explains a lot.
But then you have like North Philly, that is like where Meek Mills is from, and when people think of like, I guess the quote unquote hood of Philly, they like associate that with North Philly.
Third world country, yes.
Big facts.
Not third world country.
I've
seen it on the YouTubes.
The YouTubes.
I mean, at
the motorbikes.
Time, like, oh god,
the little Uzi Verts.
The motorbikes.
The little Uzi Verts
and the colors and all that,
really
and the drugs.
It's really annoying, but
well, the cheesesteaks too. All my friends that are from Philly are just like, yo, if you want the touristy, basically, when with the New Yorkers, as Fab and DK and Ed Boy would attest, the touristy stuff is Times Square, right? That's Midtown. That's 42nd Street and whatnot. So my friends from Philly are just like, listen, the touristy stuff is South Philly. That's where Pats and Geno's are. That's where all the white people are, so to speak. That's where all the burbs are. That's South Philly. But they're like, yo, if you want a real cheesesteak, like a real cheesesteak,
you can go to Maxie's.
You go to Maxie's. You go to North Philly, and that's
because it's interesting because like I wouldn't necessarily. There's pockets that are like the touristic parts in Philly are like you said, like the Pats and the Genos in South Philly, like get a cheesesteak, and also like Old City. And it's so funny because I was just like in Old City last night. Like they do like tours because that's where the Liberty Bell is and Dolly Madison's houses. Fun fact, the first ice cream was actually tomato flavored. But that's where like the touristy stuff is. So, but then at the same time, like you have Center City where it's just like...
The more you know.
I'm sorry, I do that all the time.
No, DK did the hand motions and I lost it.
That was a peacock?
The more you know.
But then like Center City is like... It's definitely a place for you to go have like a nice dinner. That's where like the Ruth's Chris are and like the steakhouses and stuff like that. Husani knows he's been to Philly a couple of times. Yeah.
Do you like maps?
Do I like maps? And like why? Because my background.
Your background, but you're just very detailed about a bunch of little things. So I figured. Maybe you look at maps when you're scared.
This is true.
You just sit there and buy maps and just look through them?
Maps. But I feel like you were going to say yes until everyone made fun of you about it. It's okay if you do.
I'm not really good at like directions in general, so I wouldn't necessarily say I like maps. I just, I don't know, my brain just works that way. And I think I'm detailed because I had to be a teacher. So it's just like I can't like little things because maybe you will misunderstand me if I miss it, if I skip out.
I hated that song on Guitar Hero, by the way. Maps.
What song?
Maps. I don't like that song.
Maps. I like the Paramore songs. All of them.
I love Paramore.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so no maps.
Yo, actually,
great segue, God.
She like because you're like what you're doing with your travel channel is kind of like Well, first let me ask, like, do you have sort of like a end goal in mind? Is it just like a hobby? Do you want to monetize it? Is it just something like a passion project? Like, or I mean, it might not be anything yet, or it's just maybe something you want to do. Do you have like any ideas with it?
Mark Wayne,
right? I have a shitload of ideas. So right now, my main thing is to delegate certain things because at this point in time, I'm literally doing everything. I'm doing the editing. I'm doing the promotion. I'm doing the filming, all the things.
A lot of
creating
hats. A lot of hats. A lot of hats.
Yeah, a lot of hats. And it's just like realistically, because I have a full-time job and I want to go back to school for education policy, I have to be realistic and be like, this is not going to work if I don't, delegate certain things. So I currently just found a video editor. So that's going to take at least like 10 hours from like my weekly routine. And then I'm also looking for someone to post for me, to be a social media manager, because I have to acknowledge that there's certain things that I don't thrive in. Like me being a personality, I'm good with that. But me posting on Instagram every single day, no, I'm not that good. And I'm aware that there's systems that I can like plan it out and stuff, but that's still me using some form of brain power that's going to be difficult. I do want to make this a business and I do want to monetize it. And I have multiple ideas of what that looks like once it is monetized, once I have that following. And the goal is always to educate, to get people interested, specifically people of color, into traveling, and also understanding that traveling is self-care and it helps with your mental health, because we all need to take a little time.
That's cool. That reminds me a lot of Diva Green. I Got Your Black. We had her on a while back, DK.
Yeah, I remember you talking about.
Yeah, and so basically I won't say she does something similar. It's related to travel, but what she does is that she has sort of she has a website where she details her travels, but what she specifically focuses on is like the Black experience in different countries, different parts of the world. So she'll travel somewhere, and then she may go to specific places that have like Black businesses, abroad, or like a piece of African culture, and she has like a whole website. She has like a blog. So it's interesting. I think that'd probably be a good connection for you, because she's pretty far on her like her website's very dope, professional looking. So I think that'd probably be like a good connection. It kind of reminded me of that.
Thank you. Would you say I Got Your Black?
Yeah, I Got Your Black.
Okay. Yeah, I'm writing that down right now.
And it's funny too that you're in the travel world, because I remember the first time I guest appeared on The Base, not The Base Rundown, it wasn't created yet. I just came back from the Dominican Republic on vacation, and shout out to DR and shout out to DK. I love your country, by the way. Just gonna keep saying that. It was hilarious because there was an inside joke going on with the guys that they were, on the previous episode of The Base that I wasn't on, somebody was complaining that Black people shouldn't travel because it's not safe or because it's whack or something like that. And yeah, I think the person
they know who they are.
I think the person who said it is on this show. I'm not going to say who it was, Fab, but I'm just saying Fab.
He was like, culture, that shit is stupid, bro.
But it was such an outlandish statement, Fab, that made that comment about Fab about traveling, and I just wish Fab didn't say that. But it's amazing that's what you do. I love it. I love traveling, and I'm definitely using your tips. When I get back into traveling post COVID.
Yeah.
Can I wonder how the pandemic affected like your group, because clearly like I beat you to it. So just because like you're clearly still making progress, but like there's COVID, so I guess we should be scared.
Yeah, so fun fact, because this is a new channel, so I actually came up with the idea of doing this because I knew I wanted to do a YouTube channel for a while during COVID. There was a space and time during my summer vacation where I literally had nothing to do, and I think we were still in quarantine. So I was just like, what am I gonna like spend my time on? And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do this thing. And initially my channel was just me telling like stories about the places that I've already been while we're like waiting for the world to open up. And like a good amount of my couple of first videos is just like me retelling like funny stories about like my experiences overseas. And then the world opened up a little bit more, and I was like, let's do it. Because before I even started the channel, I love traveling. Like that was the thing. Like majority of the places that I listed were before I even started the channel. But once the world opened up a little bit more, I was like, all right, like I haven't left the country in a while. Like I'm itching, like let's go. So I definitely think that it was a little bit scarier before the vaccine. I personally wanted to be vaccinated for multiple reasons. One was because they were going to throw me back into the school with children, and I wanted to be protected because unlike Husani's union, the teachers' union is very weak and they don't stand up for you. But that's another story. And also, it was just like, I just want to like leave. I really, traveling is my self-care, and that's something that I really enjoy doing. So I definitely I wouldn't promote like traveling if you feel very unsafe. But if you understand the precautions of that, you have to take a COVID test. You have to you can have signs or symptoms before you go. Like if everybody has a negative test, then when you're actually entering the airport, you should be good. Like still do your precautions that you need to, but like if we're all understanding that everyone has a negative COVID test, then no one has shown symptoms or signs of COVID while you're traveling. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm curious, what is your favorite thing about traveling?
I think I have a couple. So one of them is like, I don't have to be the Amadi that everyone sees all the time. It's just like, like you are whomever you are on a day-to-day with your friends and your family and all that stuff.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer, by the way.
But it's true. There's like expectations.
Yo, Fab's face. Oh my God.
But there's expectations and all that stuff. But like when you're on vacation, you can be a little bit looser. You can be a little bit wilder. You can wear those pants that you might have not worn like in the city.
The leather joints?
The leather joints, the floral joints, so maybe the shorter joints, like whatever you feel in. And so I really enjoy like that release and that freedom that I get of like, all right, I'm in a space where nobody essentially knows me outside of the people that I choose to be in my space. So there's like a feeling of less weight on your shoulder because you have that conscious idea of I'm not going to answer these business calls today. I'm not going to deal with this stressful man or woman in my life today. I'm on vacation. Like you kind of create that boundary and that blockage, and it's just like it sets you to be like a freer, different person. So that's the main thing that I like. The other thing is like learning about different cultures. Like I'm just always like I love a good story, and I love to learn about people. So just like being in different spaces and learning about different cultures is like really exciting for me. And I think the third thing is doing something that you might not necessarily do when you're at home. Like I went on a hot air balloon. Like literally there's a hot air balloon at like the zoo down the street. But I'm like, I'm not going to the zoo to go on a hot air balloon. Like that's corny.
Why not?
But
right.
Because
that sounds pretty dope, actually. Why?
No, because it doesn't get that high also. Like it's not like a poppin', like hot air balloon. It just like goes a certain couple feet and then it comes back down. It's just all right, I'm not gonna do that. But like, yeah, sure, let's do it in Mexico and go over some like ancient ruins. Like that seems fun. So it's just like, and I feel like I'm not the only one who thinks that way. Like I feel, especially for New Yorkers, y'all don't like do the touristy stuff in your city because you're like, it's right there. Okay, whatever.
Nope. No, they don't. No, they don't. None of them have seen the Statue of Liberty.
I think
that's facts.
The same facts I do in New York.
That's facts. That's facts.
Touristy things in New York.
It's definitely a mixed bag. I mean, I can only speak for myself. Like I've done some of the touristy things, but not because it's touristy, just because it's like right there. But yeah, it's a mixed bag. But I mean, I think you touched on a lot of things. A lot of the reasons why people like to travel. I think particularly the first one
is getting loose.
Getting loose.
Getting looser.
Getting loose. Lil Jon voice.
Oh man. No, I mean there's a lot to unpack because one thing that you said in particular is that you create sort of like a bubble like you insulate yourself from your regular sort of expectations or regular like responsibilities and people. And then when I heard that, I was like, that makes sense, because when I travel, that's kind of the same way too. But I don't know. This is I don't know if this is too deep, but it's like,
Go deep. It's okay.
It's like, you know, is it necessary to travel to have that? You know, like you could, like any given person can make the decision to remove themselves from certain, because I don't know, me personally, I believe most of the things that we do is a choice, right? And I believe is that, and
choice is an illusion.
Well, hey, if you're a determinist, hey, bro, you know.
I didn't determine that.
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
hey,
it's getting wonky.
Hey, man. Yo, I've seen your religious text. I know what you believe, sir. So we know why you think the way you think, but
the power of Christ.
Ed boy, that's a good point.
But I'm not saying. I mean, I feel the same way. I think that's in general. Like whenever you go out of your bubble, it's kind of like, hey, you know, I could be not more of myself, but like the self that I can't normally like show without some sort of repercussions or maybe some sort of self that I'm not comfortable with dealing with. And I always think about it because it's like, I could be like that all the time, but am I willing to sort of like live like that? You know what I mean? It's like traveling is that
the purge.
Yeah. Like traveling is like sort of a release.
What do you not do here that you do outside this country?
Nothing in particular, but to speak to like the removal of responsibilities, like for example, like if I feel compelled to like check my email, because like I have the kind of work where I have like hours, but I don't have hours. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can do work at any time, and there's certain things that need to get done. Sometimes I'll feel compelled to like do things like, you know, when I don't necessarily have to, but being in another country or being in another state is sort of like I create sort of like a mental barrier from those sort of things. And, you know, that's what she was alluding to.
You're getting loose, bro.
Getting loose.
But I mean, people are loose. But I mean,
not loose enough.
But there is something to be said to that too. It's like a lot of people, you know, you have a reputation here. Like some people have like certain things that they're into that it wouldn't be socially, you know, conducive for them to express openly in their home country. So they go somewhere else, you know, they scratch the itch, they do what they need to do, then they come back, and it's kind of like a cycle. That's like a very real thing. Me personally, I don't know anything I've done.
Marty, what are things you did outside the country that you wouldn't do in America?
Oh, come on, bro.
I mean, I don't.
Getting loose.
Oh, come on, bro.
Getting loose.
Yo, remember, you can go in as much and as little detail as you want. Just saying.
If you're uncomfortable with talking about a topic, let us know.
No, I'm fine. I can handle myself. No, I've never done anything like really crazy, but it's more of just the idea of. So like the best example, it's like really simple, but the best example is
you caught a body.
Like,
You murdered somebody.
Oh God!
Get the cat.
No, you see how she just laughed? She laughed like, I might have like.
No, but it's just like for me, like it's like feeling like. For like, okay, so for women, sometimes we feel uncomfortable dressing specific ways in specific spaces. But like when I'm out about in a different country, it's just like, I won't wear a bra today. I'm going to wear my short shorts. I'm going to look as appealing or unappealing as I personally want to. So like even something as simplistic as that is just like, who the fuck is gonna check me, or who's gonna say something to me? Y'all don't know me out here. Like in all of the ways. So it's just like.
When you go to other countries and people find out you're American, is it true that you're automatically cool?
Oh yes, absolutely, 110%.
Facts.
I think so. Okay,
everywhere I've been, absolutely.
Well, I think it's different for females because people.
Oh yeah, for women it's way different. Everything's way different.
Assumption you're down to fuck. So like when you're but it is.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like, when I was in Rome and I was like, oh, I'm American.
Oh, it's over. Yeah.
People, first of all, Roman men are very, very, very aggressive. Like the two most aggressive men that I've ever dealt with were Jamaican men and Roman men. Like they're like,
I too have seen Cool Runnings. I know all about your. So.
But like they have an assumption, like, okay, you're on vacation, you're here to like what you call it? Losa said, you're here to party.
Get loose.
Wow.
Yep.
Get loose. So it's just like I can't walk down the street without somebody like calling me and be like, yo, you want to fuck? And it's just like, I'm okay right now. Thanks.
Cash, I'm okay now. Like,
no, that was a great point she had made about, you know, and I know from myself because I do a lot of traveling myself too, especially before. No,
he's like, when I travel, I like, bro, I like the fuck, like. He's like,
listen, I don't know.
He's like, cat call me, please.
Cat call me, please.
I'm American. I'm from E.O. Come on.
I'm from E.O. Please. No, I mean,